we're up to 142,000 members right now. It's the largest kosher group in the world. And we talk about really how to handle yourself in a restaurant. Tipping, obviously, is a big issue. We talk about that a lot. People message me all the time about, I didn't have a good time at a restaurant. Can you help me? I think customer service is more important sometimes than the actual food, because think about it. If you go to a restaurant and the food is very good, but the customer service is terrible, and they were rude, you're not going to go back because there's other restaurants to go to.
I am really happy that we have a very special guest, someone I'm trying to think, I've probably known you maybe, close to 20 years, possibly.
I started 22 years ago.
But I've known your name for 2 decades. And I have here a very special person by the name of Elan Kornblum. Elan is known by many people as a food influencer, but you are way much more than that. And I just want to say I love you for bringing here. This is how I first got to know you.
Thank you.
I'm a print guy, so this magazine, this is
my first issue in 2005. So I started in 2003.
Great Kosher Restaurants Magazine. So Elan, welcome. You are much more than that, but you to me will always be the publisher of this glorious magazine.
Thank you for having me. Really happy to be here. Thank you.
And so I know you are way beyond the magazine, but give me the Elan Kornblum story to get there.
Really, grew up in Canarsie. Went to school at Yeshiva Flatbush. Went to Brooklyn College, studied marketing, advertising. So I was always into business. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. As a kid, I was looking at the ratings at the TV commercials, like what commercials, what shows did better. So I knew I wanted to do something in business and in advertising. So I studied that.
Were you a food guy?
Not really. I enjoyed food, or as typically, and again, we can get into it. We didn't go out as much as we do now. Like as a kid, we went out maybe for a birthday, an anniversary. Now we're going out socially, a few times a week. So for me, my family and I, we never really went out so much. Where I wouldn't consider myself a foodie, and we can talk about what a foodie is.
There wasn't that much in Canarsie, from what I recall.
Right. I hung out in Flatbush as well, but again, it wasn't. And social media obviously helped, and just a Food Network. It was never this much food, restaurants, socially back in the 90s and all that. So never really was into a big, food, sushi. For me, it was, what is this? And we can get into it.
Can I just compliment you, by the way? That actually comes through. As someone who watches you a lot, you are kind of, in a sense, you are the everyman, meaning you are not a trained chef, you are not, but you, in a sense, represent a little bit kind of like the average palate, average food guy.
I don't pretend to be a chef or connoisseur. I like what I like. People have differences in their tastes. I try to just explain from my point of what I think I like. And again, obviously, over time, the last 20 years, I feel my palate has certainly grown and expanded. So I think...
So you become more snobby a little.
And I know what things taste like, and
what they're supposed to taste like.
What it's supposed to taste like. And by the way, if something is too salty, too spicy, it doesn't mean it's bad, just because I might not like it, but you might like it. So I was always, into the marketing, and to how to tell people the message. And I know that's, what you guys do. So kind of from Brooklyn College, I went around to the stores in Brooklyn College, got advertising, got a planner that I bought, a regular planner, put advertising, put the college information, last day to drop a class, schedule of classes. So it's a real nice, planner, and sold it to the bookstores. As a student.
For them to give away?
For them to sell to the students. So I was making these planners, getting advertising in order to grow the business, sold the planners to the stores. They sold it to the students. Thank God. Got picked up by CUNY, all the CUNY schools. I even dealt with Iona, a nice Catholic school. So I was doing college planners. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to start doing a college magazine. With pictures, with information, and all that.
And you had no competition, because I feel like in the '90s that was a business. People knew about these kind of things.
Right. It wasn't. There wasn't. The internet really wasn't what it was, and so there was a lot of information that people. How do you get that information? But there was a lot of books where it's like just black and white. It wasn't color. It wasn't pictures. It wasn't. So that's why I wanted to do it. 9/11 happened. All the budgets were cut for the colleges. I had to, think of something else and transition. I said, you know what? Let's do a restaurants magazine. There hasn't been a magazine like that. There's been guides. There's been, books where it just has like an address, phone number, and a little paragraph. Here, I wanted to show how beautiful, how nice, how we can be proud of kosher restaurants. And thank God, went around, started taking pictures with my old camera and printing it out and showing people the layout. And it ballooned, and thank God, worked hard, hit the pavement, and then came, a year and a half later, came out with my first issue.
So it took about a year or two of work.
Took about a year and a half to kind of get it off the ground.
And I'm just saying, like, for me as a paper guy, to start with a really nice print, glossy magazine. Is like to me that's a big deal.
Yeah, we wanted to again make it look nice, a coffee table book, something that people can show to their non-Jewish friends. Nice pictures, good quality paper, a nice kind of layout.
Yeah.
This is something.
I'll tell you, what I thought was cool was not just the pictures, but you actually had the menus.
We had the menus, right, without prices because those change. But
obviously,
again, we wanted to kind of show people. We had articles from restaurant owners. We had recipes. We had just. Tom's Top 10. I don't know if you ever read some of that, like crazy restaurant stories that people can relate to. So, and I want to bring that back. But yeah,
that could even work for social media.
Absolutely, so we do. We used to do that. Thank God it's overwhelmed with the last, when we transitioned to social media, and we'll talk about that. But for the first 10, 12 years, I was doing magazines every year. And I give kol kavod to you. I know it. I was doing it once a year. You're doing it once a week to get deadlines. Pressure. Just getting everything. Matching and design and layout.
So you're talking to a restaurant. Like, get your ad in by August or something like that. So you don't have the weekly.
But for us, because things change so fast, chefs. Change, restaurants close. So we were preparing for a year, and then all of a sudden, we had to fix something because it wasn't correct. So, and of course, and I'm sure you go to print, boom, within 10 seconds of after print, oh my God, after looking at this for like 2 months and you find a mistake or you find but it happens, and thank God,
I want you to know that we're actually very careful. The timing issue is a very serious one. We don't ever want to be seen as too out of date. Did you ever think about doing it more than once a year? I mean, you were always annual.
I started out myself. And it was a full time. People even say to me now, so "What do you do for a living? Like, what do you actually do?"
I was actually going to ask that. What do you actually do? I know part of it.
I eat for a living, but I started off myself in my house, doing the magazine, doing the sales, doing the photos, doing the layout, and then it just took a year. It took almost sometimes more, 13 months, but 12 months in essence. And then it was overwhelming, and I had to hire more staff. So probably within 4 or 5 years of doing this, started hiring more people, grew the magazine, and this is, for your readers, this is what it...
What was the biggest, 200 pages?
This is our last one. I think 256 was our last issue.
Wow.
So this is... Yeah. And so it was, thank God it grew. Restaurants heard about it. They started calling me. They wanted to be in it. They were looking at it. I have great stories of people on dates looking through it. Where should we go? My sister was on a date, and she's like, "Oh, how'd you find the restaurant?" "Oh, I asked the restaurant guy." He's like, "That's my brother." So we have fun stories, and let's say they go on a date, they liked it. "Oh, I had a great time. Where should I go the next one?" And the next one, and you have some nice stories, and thank God people still come over to me and says, "We love the magazine." I love the magazine. Would still love to do it, but it just,
So actually, what happened? So 2015, so what changed?
Yeah, the writing.
You're not a COVID story, so
right. The writing was on the wall for social media.
256 pages is pretty impressive.
It was, and we could have done it. And it was in 2014. I decided let's get on Facebook. Okay, it was Facebook groups were just starting then, and I said, we had a website, we had even a page on Facebook, and it was good. But I said, let's start this Facebook group because I want people to interact.
Were you thinking with a business head, or just thinking more like
it was just another platform to be able to post my information. And I thought, because I was getting calls all the time saying, where should I go? Where's the recommend? I said, let's start a group where you can ask other people also about where to go. Because again, I'm getting calls at 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, my wife and kids are like, okay, you can't always answer it. And you're getting messages. So I said, let me start a Facebook group. So this way, it's not just me posting, it's other people posting and other people asking questions and answering it. And I started my Facebook group.
What was the Facebook called? It wasn't called Great Kosher Restaurant Foodies. Was it? It was
from the very beginning.
GKRF.
Yeah, okay. Great Kosher Restaurants. And it, thank God, because I had those relationships with those restaurants for 10, 12 years, and I was known, and I had a following, as soon as I started the group, boom, within a couple of days, it got to 1,000. Within a month, it was 3,000. And we're up to 142,000 members right now. It's the largest kosher group in the world.
Believe it. Wow.
And we talk about anything about food, travel, situational, what should I do in this restaurant situation? And we talk about really how to handle yourself in a restaurant. Tipping, obviously, is a big issue. We talk about that a lot. We talk about just anything to do with, obviously, COVID was huge when we were talking about that. And
did you see a decline in COVID? Were you affected by COVID?
No. We got, thank God, we were stronger because they needed to get that information. A lot of restaurants pivoted to more delivery, so they had to get that information out there, and they were being creative, and they were selling, toilet paper, and they were asking me like, okay, I need you. So there are restaurants who, were doing great for years, and thank God, they were. And then all of a sudden, COVID happened, and they needed help, so they came to me, and we were able to help them. So we kind of, went with the times, and now, we've just.
Let's talk about. I'm still just. Let's get back to two. So you decided to close it. The last
it just got overwhelming. I couldn't do everything.
You're saying an annual magazine.
Yes.
You say and the social side.
The social side took over. So again, now we're talking about Facebook, Instagram. My website was also my newsletters. I send out an email like every week, every 2 weeks to 22,000 people, and has a 60% open rate, which I'm proud of. And so we started doing more newsletters, and it just got overwhelming. And I found that, and again, I'm a print guy, but I'm now more and more social media.
I hate to say, by the way, I love this, but you're not a print guy anymore.
So. Not anymore, but
you're banned from the print club. Yeah.
But I found that the tracking, the immediate, response I was getting on Facebook and Instagram, the views were going up, and I said, I got to ride this wave. And I said, I'm going to just continuing.
Did you have a business plan for that, though? Did you have? I mean, like, was there like a magazine? You understand? You sell to 100 restaurants. Right. They pay. You have fixed costs. Like, right. Did you have a business plan going into
it? Was similar. It just, instead of charging for advertising in the magazine, we were charging for the social media. And people ask me all the time, what I try to do, and hopefully people see that, is I don't say this is the best restaurant in the world and it's amazing and this is the best falafel you'll ever get, and then the next week I'll say this is the best falafel. No, I don't do that. I say this is what they serve. This is what their specials are. This is their hours. This is their new dishes. I really try to stick to information.
This is also the deals they're offering. They're offering
right.
At exit.
Right, and I was doing deals also, by the way. That was part of it. So I try to stick to information, and I want to give people an idea of what they can expect when they come to the restaurant. Mm-hmm. And that's what I do. So restaurants hire me to market them, but consulting. I do a lot of consulting, menu consulting, feedback. People message me all the time about, I didn't have a good time at a restaurant. Can you help me? I didn't enjoy the restaurant, and I'll share that feedback with the owners.
But don't you? I actually think both I remember on Facebook and on WhatsApp, and
yeah.
So some of those conversations, and actually, you're not going to like this, but somewhat makes it. I know you moderate, you and your team moderate, but there have been some really nasty exchanges.
It's a balance.
No, what I'm saying is actually,
I agree. Yes,
people like will actually, something I would never allow on any Jewish Link platform is. And I know you try to police it, but there have been people who will really rip into a restaurant, a serve, just and tear them apart.
Right. So there is a balance, and there's a fine line. Again, you can imagine what what I have to then behind the scenes, where are things that I see that are either not going on to the group that once I see something that's really a bash. If I see something where it says, this is the worst restaurant in the world, I'm telling all my friends not to go, we should ban them, I'm going to message the commenter, the poster, what happened, what's going on, and I'll get them in touch with the owner. So I'm going to, behind the scenes, we'll try to resolve it, and most times we will get it resolved. A lot of times they want to vent, and they're upset, and they only hear one side, and they don't realize, and then, I always tell people, don't text, don't post when you're angry. It's a good for life.
They don't listen to you.
Yes,
so.
but the next morning, sleep on it. Let me find out what happened, and so, but yes, we do deal with constructive criticism. Someone says this is too salty, this was took too long. Let's find out, and so a lot of times if they don't name the restaurant and they say I went to a restaurant and I had a horrible time, and okay, let's talk about it, and we'll talk about it on the group. So there is, and of course, people say, "Oh, you should let everything in." I said, "No. So we do work on it very hard. I have 8 admins that help me.
I feel like you are personally moderating.
Absolutely.
I don't know how you do it, by the way.
The buck stops with me.
I understand.
My name is on it.
How do you do that? You have so many groups now.
I have, with our WhatsApp chat, we have like 30, 40 groups around the world that are very active. You're in the North Jersey chat.
I am in the North Jersey.
These guys we have 2 chats because it got full. And, and it gets added. WhatsApp is a little harder because you can't, see the things before it goes up.
Yep.
It goes up. And I'm busy working on something, and I don't see it for a half hour, or I'm getting messages saying, North Jersey's blowing up. You got to take a look at it. So it happens. And, for the most part, we try to deal with it.
Which is your most? Let's talk about the growth. So you started with. You didn't start with regions. You started with one or 2 groups, correct? And then at what point did you start to break out regionally?
For WhatsApp?
Yeah, and other. I think you
again. It was a natural progression. Started with the Facebook group, then started doing more with Instagram, and WhatsApp really took a few years. I think COVID, right before COVID or right during was very helpful. Getting that information out there in real time. Listen, we had people who, and it was crazy where, I have an owner's chat as well, and we're talking about there's a COVID inspector on the block, and be careful, and so that's kind of where it was going. But in general, the WhatsApp chats are great, and they were just, again, these are all natural progressions saying we need a need. There was nothing going on as a group on Facebook, on WhatsApp, and just thank God.
Elan, I want to tell you this. So just the kol kavod, I think that's actually, you kind of the pivot away from the magazine. In essence, just figuring out the platform. In essence, the magazine maybe was a pre-internet type, even though the internet was starting. People really want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
But it's the reason why, as a local, people want to know what's going on in their Daladams. They want to know what's going on in their taxes and local news, and they want to know what's going on with local food. I kind of feel like you tapped into that burgeoning growing group of the foodies, so to speak. Foodies both who are real foodies or people who just like to eat out in a more serious way.
For me, foodies is anyone who likes food, talks about food, wants to hear more about it. Mm-hmm. And it's not so much a snob, but someone who just appreciates and just wants to tell others also, also what's opening, what's closing.
By the way, what is opening?
There's so much. Here in Teaneck, One Lev, closed. That was a big thing that, again, on our group, on our Facebook, WhatsApp. So we talk about a lot of supervision, hashgacha, questions and conversations. We get into that. There are restaurants for sale. So we're in the middle of trying to find, a buyer. So there's a lot goes on behind the scenes.
So are you active on the business side?
Restaurants are calling me all the time. I'm selling. I'm buying. I need a chef. I need a manager. There's so much goes on behind the scenes that people don't realize.
So you really, I really but you really you have to have your finger on the pulse.
Always.
What I actually like most about you is that you're not, even though you're from Brooklyn now, I think now live in the 5 towns, is that no one sees you that way. I think are you in Florida once a month now?
During the season, usually once a month. I'll go to, say, LA, Vegas, thank God, I've gone to around the world places, but you have to be, and you have to see the place. You have to experience it. And if you're going to tell people, again, I don't say this is, again, I don't exaggerate. I'm the same person online that I am here. I talk the same way. I try to, when I message people, when people come over to me, I'm just a regular guy that, thank God has built a nice, platform to share information and help people. And it's nice. I have that, we all have the ability to use it for good and bad. And I try to use it for good. We try to do a lot of chesed. We try to do, people call me asking for food just now. Literally 10 minutes before I got on, someone was asking me in Florida that, God forbid, someone has cancer, they need food for Shabbos, they're doing a meal train, someone backed out, can you help me? We got some of the owners and supermarkets, within 2 minutes, boom, yeah, no problem, we'll send them food. That's what I'm proud of.
But
also.
you were, in a sense, you were the shliach.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
One of the things that's most impressive to me about you is that you're not just food, you're not just chesed, but you've kind of taken that platform that you built, Elan Kornblum, GKRF, and you've done other things with it. Like I know, you were a World Mizrahi delegate, and you were very. Oh, I'm just saying. Let's talk about the non-food. Like you kind of basically said, I have a platform.
Right.
I don't only need to be dealing with restaurants food, even though it's certainly who you are. But you kind of just tell me about I can do more than that.
Right. So thank God. Definitely October 7th was a big deal. That October 8th we started a WhatsApp chat, helping Israel. Yeah. So, and I know you do a lot where we were sending boots. We were organizing, coordinating of where can we help. Posting information. So we have helping Israel chat. We have a combat anti-Semitism chat. Again, people were messaging me and posting on the group, and I said, okay, you want to post, and I want to hear it, and people want to, let's start a chat, let's start a group. I started there was, people came up to me and said, I need help with a shiva, with a minyan. We don't have 10 men. I know you know people. Can you help me find a 10th man? So you know what? Hold on. Let me start a Facebook group. So we have a Facebook group with thousands of people who are there if you need a minyan for a shiva and for the funeral. So we have a group for that. We have a WhatsApp group for that. We have, just different things that we do. So it's Israel, it's anti-Semitism, it's helping, bring food to people, Shiva. There's a lot of little things. So yes, I'm proud of that, and thank God, I'm in a position where I can help. Why not?
Mm-hmm. Do you have any specific like an anecdote of just just a real a classic Elan Kornblum story? I know, for example, there are restaurants that you've worked and helped with, and you've even helped kind of turn them around.
Well, I'm proud of that. There's been places that have been non-kosher and have come to me. Bay Cafe, good example. In Brooklyn, they were a non-kosher restaurant. She calls me up one day, again, random calls, and says, I hear that you're connected in the kosher world. I'm thinking about going kosher. I'm not sure what it all means. It's okay. Let's talk about it. Explain to them a little bit of what is going to go on and the pros and cons. And I'm telling you, it's almost like someone converting. Like, do you want to do this? Here is the obstacles. You're closed 100 days out of the year. Here's the supervisions, cost of labor and goods, and all that. So
you failed. So they became kosher anyway.
So they became kosher. And
despite all that,
I got them in touch with the supervision, and I helped them. There's a free loan society, Hebrew Loan Society. I was able to get them. And so they're still kosher, and they're still there, and so I'm proud of that stuff. Just helping behind the scenes that people have no idea about, and and hearing someone down the road and come up to me and says, "You don't know me, I messaged you. You probably don't even remember, but you were able to send food to someone or help with something." And I'm like, Thank you for coming over, and I'm happy it all worked out.
Okay. I have to ask you the question, which is, I work really hard, you work really hard, but I think the kosher food business, you have to be completely mishuggah.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, how? It's crazy business. It's a crazy business. I know people succeed, but it's still crazy.
Right. I tell people there's many different ways to lose money.
Yeah.
This is a fun way to lose it.
I'm not so sure it's always so fun. It's hard work.
It's hard work. Okay, why do restaurant owners get into the business? A lot of them may think that they're going to make $1 million. They're not going to make $1 million. Some do. Okay, they're passionate about having people in their home. They love having a restaurant, having their friends, their family, having customers. There's nothing like a good customer comes in who's loyal, who enjoys, who appreciates the restaurant. And I think at the end of the day, when they see that, they hear that, okay, that's why I go into the business, because they want to, they enjoy that. It's a lot of X's and O's. If you know how to cook, great. That's not what it takes to make a successful restaurant. It's the labor and profits and losses and doing your books well and customer service. Sometimes I think customer service is more important sometimes than the actual food, because think about it. If you go to a restaurant and the food is very good, but the customer service is terrible, and they were rude, you're not going to go back, because there's other restaurants to go to. But if you go to a restaurant and okay, maybe you didn't like something, it was well done, but they were so nice and they were accommodating, and you'll go back and say, I'll try something else. It's such a nice restaurant, the ambiance, it was nice to experience. So I think it's important also, and people sometimes don't get it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of mom and pop kind of restaurants. And that's what I'm here for.
There's someone that we know, Doug Sokoloff, found Dougie's like that. His mantra, if you ever speak to him, it's all about customer service. Yeah. He's really like, just if you don't get the customer experience right, you're finished. And he's not wrong. I know you expanded to Israel. That's
the fun part also.
That's actually. So I know you're having fun.
I try to. You got to. Again, obviously, the cliche is you got to enjoy your job. It's not a job. It's a job. Okay, you can work hard and still enjoy it. Still a labor of love. But yeah, of course, there are those small moments where after you're working so hard and you go into the pool and you're relaxing for a little bit and you just close your eyes and okay, this is fun. And then reality hits. You get a message.
A second later, yeah.
I need this, up in 2 minutes, and where's that? So those are fun, and of course experiencing it with my family. I try to bring my wife, who has a real job, works at the Board of Ed, and she's only off really in the summer.
Don't see your wife too much on social media.
Yeah, no, she's very private.
Yeah. Did you have any issues like being in front of the camera? Did you? Because I actually do. I prefer sometimes when I walk into an establishment. I really want to capture the restaurant owner.
Yes.
I want, or the business owner.
Right.
I'm not.
So that's a big thing. I'm not into selfies and doing selfie videos that much. Most times you'll notice I'm showing the camera there, not to me, because I'm not what people want to see. It's the restaurant they want to see. And of course, I'll put it in, and my staff always says to me, you got to be out there more. And of course I do, but you also got to, sometimes you're not in the mood. Sometimes, you're looking is, so it's always important.
I feel similar.
It's just a human nature. But I let the food do the talking, let the restaurant, them be the star. But yeah, you're in the public limelight, you're a public figure, you have to carry yourself in a certain way, and I try to do that, but yeah, it's always that struggle of like, do I show myself and all that, but lately, just the people take pictures, which is always nice and all that. But yeah, able to travel, able to see things is pretty cool.
Give me the latest trend. What's the latest coolest thing that's happening in kosher travel, kosher cuisine?
So I just went to I don't know if you were there. Jack-Con, I don't know if you were there.
I wasn't
okay.
there.
You got to come. I bring that up because that was a really cool room where you had people from Bahamas, Mexico, Italy, Paris, London, and that was a good microcosm of what's going on. The kosher, since COVID, it really is exploded. People remember what it was like to stay home. So they're traveling a lot. Panama is a huge destination during the season.
I heard you were actually applying for Panamanian citizenship, but you're there twice a year now.
They're trying to sell homes, second homes. So that's a great destination for people who want to go. These resorts are turning kosher in Bahamas, Aruba, in Mexico, where you can go and everything. There's minyanim, kosher restaurant, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's tons of Jews there. and you can go and enjoy yourself in a kosher, community. So wherever I'm going to Italy this summer, never been there before. I'm looking forward to it. There's tons of kosher restaurants in Venice and Florence and Rome and all that. So I'm looking forward. So yeah, and that's what we do. We kind of give information out. That's why I'm going.
Well, one trend I heard about is the idea of all inclusive, like meaning that's actually the way non-kosher people travel. Is they pay for a hotel and breakfast, dinner is usually part of it. So that's kind of just hitting our community.
It is. It's still a very high end level where people don't we don't drink as much as non-Jews, and so you have an all inclusive and you have all the alcohol you can
drink.
But there are programs out there that you can get all exclusive, and then there just are programs where you can literally just buy whatever you want that's kosher. Many different options. So it's pretty cool, the options that are out there.
So you're saying so you're going to go to Italy and you're going to become an Italy convert.
I'll be
okay.
Buongiorno and
I can't wait to see you post from the ghetto in Rome and Venice.
Vatican.
You got to go to Venice though, please.
I know. I'm going there right after Tisha B'Av. I'm flying out, spending Shabbos there. I heard it's amazing. So that's the kind of things as I get older. I'm almost 50 years old. Started this when I was in mid-20s. That's also fun. I was like the new kid, and I was always the youngest guy in the room when I was speaking.
Not anymore.
Now I'm a little elder statesman that, people come to me and, I'm now older than more. So I'm already thinking, what am I going to do in 5-10 years?
Well, that was actually my question for you. What's next for Elan and for GKRF?
So
you see, now you're bringing back the magazine. Do I have to worry about a competitor?
I would love to bring back the magazine.
In a different way, maybe. Yeah.
In a different way. Whether it's, again, we'll see. I've every few months I say, okay, I got to hire a salesperson. I got to, but I know it's going to fall on me, and I know it's going to be the social media and print is just. Again, I'm already busy, till I go to sleep 1-2 in the morning sometimes.
Oh, that's pretty early.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. But for me, it's keep growing the business, maintaining it.
Are you opening any new areas, regions? Is it going to be a Great Kosher Restaurants Italy, Chad? Or
there already is.
Seriously?
Oh, sure. As soon as I knew that I was going, sure, and it's very active.
I didn't realize.
Oh, we have one in. All over the country, all over the world, we have chats. You should join.
Italy, I didn't know.
Absolutely, that.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
I want,
I was trying to make. I
want to do a wedding division.
Let's hear about
Great Kosher weddings. And again, we did. We even have it in the magazine from 10 years ago.
What plan or like as a guide?
As a guide,
a resource.
As a resource. That's something that I've always thought about doing. It just having the manpower and being able to put it together. Mm-hmm. That's something that's on the table.
Have you ever thought about going to events, like event production, event planning?
I kind of do. J&F, I'm helping run the food part of the J&F event for Israel.
Correct.
I was there last year, so they brought me on to be like a consultant to kind of give ideas.
By the way, actually, I'm sorry, I forgot to say you were involved in our wine guide event 2 years ago.
Yes.
For the premiere of the wine guide.
That was
great. It was a great event.
Thank you. People hire me to kind of consult and bring in restaurants and the publicity of it, so definitely more events like that. Getting involved in Israel, I've been asked to be on certain boards that not yet. I haven't committed to it just because, again, if I'm committing to something, it's 100%. And so I can see myself in 5-10 years getting involved in philanthropy, doing like that, and traveling more. My kids are getting older; they're teenagers, going to college. Maybe they would take part over the business, and I would semi-retire, still travel, still cover what I want, and I have my staff. I have 9 people on my staff.
Wow. And
so I'm able to step away a little bit, keep an eye on things. That's where I kind of see myself maybe in 10-15 years from now.
What's very interesting, actually, if you think about the last 20 years, though, the business has kind of grown it's organically. Like it's almost really hard. Like, for example, it's clear, like Instagram, WhatsApp. Well, we don't know what the next thing is.
Right. AI.
I know, but we don't really know what AI is going to do. For by the way, it happens to be I have the same issue for myself.
Yeah.
But we don't know what that mean. What's that going to mean for GK? What does it mean for Elan Kornblum? What does it mean for GK? And I'm saying is what I do know is as I know what I don't know. I know that I don't know, so to speak. And so that's
I see the videos as it is already. We're seeing ads. I'm sure you get a lot of AI ads, and I wonder what you do with that. And already people are getting a little bit of a brushback saying these ads are fake. Mm-hmm. You can tell they all look similar, and so that's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I tell them these are feedbacks that I give to restaurants saying, guys, people are not liking it. People are annoyed, and so you got to be real. You got to take the pictures, and sometimes we'll use certain things. But that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
I'm going to ask you a strange question.
Yeah.
Would you ever consider owning or being part owner of a restaurant?
So first of all, there was one April Fool's that I posted where I said I'm opening up my own restaurant, GK Bistro, and I got a couple of calls from restaurants saying, "What are you doing? You can't open a restaurant. You can't compete with us. You're helping us." Yeah. And guys, what's the date? It's April Fool's. So I feel like I already own 150 restaurants that I'm working with, and I'm invested in all that, and I would be a conflict of interest, and I would
because you'd want to promote your restaurant.
Yeah, and it's just something that I again, thank God, I'm overwhelmed, and I know what it takes to be successful. You got to be at the restaurant. You got to be there where you can answer questions and see the customers, and so it's married. You're married to it, and I'm already, thank God, like I said, pretty busy.
The kosher food world is just amazing. I'm still astounded at the growth. It just seems like it's a special type of person who wants to be in the business. Yeah. And then it's another special type of person who actually is able to succeed, and very often it's not always the same person. Right. So.
No, I think that hard work, but I enjoy it. I think the people want to talk about food. It's a common denominator, I think, food. We all like food. We all have to eat it. We all for sustenance. But yes, it's taken on a new level socially. People are talking about it more, and that's why
it's like real estate. So real estate is the first Jewish community because everyone needs living space. Right. We all need. And then after that, we need to eat, and we don't want to eat the same peanut butter and jelly sandwich maybe that we grew up with for lunch. There are many things that have changed in the last 25, 30 years. The kosher food world is like it's almost unrecognizable from what it was 30 years ago.
Again, it's grown leaps and bounds from 20 years ago. I think again with social media, with everyone having a phone, everyone being a blogger and influencer, and and having that, restaurants have to up their game and always have to outdo. And they're beautiful restaurants that are out there, and so I want people to to enjoy them, to experience them. Don't be stressed out, by the way, when you go to a restaurant. Enjoy it. Again, I shouldn't be the person to say put your phone down, but take a picture. Post it, then put your phone down and enjoy it.
And try to enjoy it. That's a nice message for kosher restaurant goers, and just it's a good message. It's a really good message. So
life is short. Enjoy it and be in the moment and
love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep it up. Keep up all you're doing. I can't even imagine your travel schedule. I also please make sure you always keep your batteries of your phone and your camera and keep them charged. And really just a really special. Have a great summer.
Thank you as well.
And we're looking forward to it. And I'll be following on North Jersey, Instagram, and
Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, email, website, and just again anything that we can help with outside of the food. Chesed and Israel and volunteering and all that, you can find us as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us on the Jewish Link Pitch Meeting podcast. If you would like to participate or be in touch with us in any way, please email us at editor@jewishlink.news and follow us and find our podcast wherever you find podcasts.